to season 372, episode 2 of Daily Zeitgeist, a production of iHeartRadio. This is a podcast where we take a deep dive into America's shared consciousness. We do have a YouTube channel. This episode is going up on YouTube. You can go check it out on Friday. It is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. Come on. It's not that date. That date's never going to get here. Come on. Project 2025, that's the future. The future doesn't exist. My name is JackO'Brien, aka Zeitgeist Got Trends, Internet Trends, my friends. Zeitgeist Got Trends, my only friends, the trends. That one courtesy of Less Than Zero on the Discord. Less Than Zero written all cool and hackery. That song by The Doors, I don't know, feels appropriate as hell right now, to be honest.
Pretty good Jim Morrison
some reason,
impersonation, by the way.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it. It turns out that guy couldn't sing for shit. He was just kind of drunk and
is that the karaoke hack? Just do Doors songs?
Just do this. You can do Elvis too.
Right.
You don't,
No, Elvis had pipes. Okay.
Elvis had pipes.
He did.
But you can do Elvis. I'm just saying, like, you do, or at least I can. I can do Elvis. I can do Jim Morrison. I can do Springsteen. Just
the white guy blunt rotation.
Dream blunt rotation. I'm thrilled to be joined in our second seat, our Miles seat, by a hilarious stand-up comedian, writer, actor, improviser. It's Pallavi Gunalan.
Oh my god! Hi.
Hi.
Guys. Hey, hi.
You got the good hi.
I wanted to go totally different than I normally do.
Just play a character for the entire episode.
Hey,
why not? You know.
Welcome to Comedy Bang Bang.
That's good too.
We are thrilled to be joined, Pallavi, in our third seat by a podcaster extraordinaire. You know from This Day in Esoteric Political History. He's also hosted 30 for 30 for ESPN, the 538 Politics podcast, way back, but that's where I first found out about him, so I'm always going to bring it up.
Way back when Trump was elected president.
Way back when Trump had the red and black lumberjack and the hat to match. He's the lead producer on The Puzzler. It's Jody Avirgan!
Yeah. Nice to be back, as always.
It's great to have you, Jody.
And you post these video episodes 2 days, 3 days after they come out?
Yeah, exactly. So it's perfect.
So in executive orders, 14 executive orders later. Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This will
I think
be
way more than that, actually.
Maybe way more than that.
I think it's dependent on like Trump's attention span and signing his own name, which I feel like is long.
His carpal tunnel, like his hand is cramping up. From
once the tariffs on Sharpie markers hit, then it'll slow down.
Yeah. Jody, how are you doing? Pallavi, Jody, you guys picked a good one.
Oh yeah,
you landed a good one in terms of the news cycle, my overall level of comfort and ease. It's gonna be an interesting one. I appreciate you both being here. Jody, we were talking about the old New York v. LA comparisons. Both,
the coastal elites go head to head.
Are freaking out a little bit collectively
main
right
character
now.
syndrome for both cities. We're like, well, that's not an important city. We're an important city.
I do love that right now New Yorkers can't say they hate us, because LA people are like, we get so much hate. You'll be like, I'm from LA, and people will be like, I hate LA. And right now, while we're burning, people are like, you guys got heart.
Pallavi, can I tell you, I'm a New Yorker, and I'm one, and I hold this like irrational, like New York is the greatest city in the world.
I love New York.
No, I do. I mean, obviously I do too. I think there are other great cities, but I really indulge in that. And over the last 4 or 5 years, I've known a lot of people who've moved to LA. I have become kind of enamored with LA. But then
we're pretty cute.
A couple weeks ago, I decided, just as the new year was starting, I was like, hating LA is bad. And I actually tweeted it, and I was like, the playing nice is over. He set
the fires. He incited fires.
It was the day before the fires broke out, where I like planted a flag. I was like, I'm gonna talk shit about LA again.
Yeah.
And then the fires broke out the very next day, and now we're
You
in
and
this
the
window
climate
where
scientists.
And the fact your bravery that you've stuck with it every single day, tweeting something aggressive and mean about LA ever since
it's
then
remarkable.
is admirable. And,
Yeah. They
our
deserved
hats
it.
off
I
to
remember
you.
that one. I remember you tweeted they deserved it.
They deserved it. I mean, I'm putting like refund requests into GoFundMe's and
flame
that's right.
emojis everywhere, you know?
Just this one looks suspicious broadly across every GoFundMe request.
I
I'm
actually
flagging
saw
GoFundMe
Jody looting in evacuation zones. That's crazy.
He's starting so that the right-wing comedians will have something to complain about. He's, playing the
If
role.
New York
of a
can't
looter.
hate on LA, what do we have?
Exactly.
Literally everything.
Yeah, most everything else.
Meanwhile, I've been over here like talking, like the one news story that gives me hope is the congestion pricing, and I'm just like, everyone in New York, I'm like, what's it like to be around?
It's like
a
that
policy?
meme, like this would be the world with, and then it's just like this futuristic Valhalla. Yeah,
Just
that's
a
exactly what Lower Manhattan
law.
is like.
A single law aimed at improving the lives of citizens with no clear corporate tie-in, where it's like, and you have to give us all of your credit card information. Yeah.
We're going to find out they're killing kittens for it or something later.
Sure. All right, Jody, we're going to get to know you a little bit better in a moment. First, we're going to tell the listeners a couple of things we're talking about today. Where to begin? We'll talk about just a quick rundown of Trump's executive orders that are getting pushback in courts and aren't getting pushbacks in courts. And then we do have to talk about the Elon Musk Nazi salute.
Yeah, you don't have to put a question. You don't have to put a little
awkward. Well, I don't know. The Anti-Defamation League seems to think it was just an awkward gesture.
Well, they're anti-defamation of every kind.
Yeah, that's true. They don't want to,
even if it is real.
Elon Musk. They don't want to defame Musk. There you go.
Straight up intentional and aggressive Nazi salute. We'll talk about Biden's last-minute ERA statement, his Equal Rights Amendment, where he said the Equal Rights Amendment is now the law of the land, guaranteeing all Americans equal rights and protections under the law, regardless of their sex, and then didn't do the thing that he needed to even make that temporarily true. So we'll just talk about that as a nice little metaphor for a lot of the Biden administration. We'll talk about a Costco strike, and we'll talk about why primates, including people, pee in groups, all of that. Plenty more. But first, Jody, we do like to ask our guests, what is something from your search history that's revealing about who you are?
Everything I say now will be cast in this New York versus LA. It's very cold here in New York right now, and it snowed recently. But it is so
hard for you.
Yeah, I know it's very hard for me. I went sledding with my daughter.
Blanket covering the city. Wow.
A hush, and there's no cars now because of congestion pricing, so you can just slush your way down the middle of the street. It's really wonderful. But I got thinking a lot about the real feel temperature. Because we're getting these forecasts now in New York where it's it's 30 degrees, but it feels like -5. And I've basically come to the conclusion that why don't we just get the real feel? The real feel should be the real temperature.
They're like, it's 40 degrees, but it feels like your mother kicked you in the teeth.
Yeah. Then all I do with temperature is feel it. I don't have any other things that I do with temperature. And so I started to just go down a little rabbit hole of how that temperature gets calculated, and I couldn't really explain it to you, but it is kind of fascinating how the rise of real feel. And I know it's
just a guy standing in Central Park being like, I don't know, uncomfortable.
17, yeah.
It's the smiley faces on a doctor's little range.
Yeah. But I genuinely would like to propose that we make real feel, the temperature feel, the default temperature that we get. What's the point?
Every measurement, though, it's we thought we could get rid of daylight savings. That bitch is still on our ass. We thought we could do metric measurements that made sense. No. And then now it's what you're feeling isn't really how. It's the weather people are gaslighting us. They're no, it doesn't actually. It's not actually what you think it is.
Yeah.
We just need to get the polling in, and then we'll know what the temperature is outside. That is really interesting. I've also never heard it referred to so consistently as real feel. It feels
Yeah.
like they're winning some branding war right now.
Yeah.
Because I've always called it like the feels like temperature, or the wind chill factor, which is.
But it sounds like there's more things than just wind chill
It's
that
real.
go into it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think humidity has something to do with it. You know, did you get enough sleep the night before? Like all those things kind of go into it.
A wet cold is not something that I realized, like a wet, like when the air is both humid and really cold. I didn't realize how cold that could feel until I was in Ireland one winter, and it like they say it gets inside your clothes and you're like, oh, you affable Irish people. And then you feel it and it's like, holy shit. It's like inside. It's inside everything I'm wearing right now.
Yep.
There is
just like the British.
Yes. And I did say that to make sure that they liked me over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jody, that sounds really uncomfortable. Over here, we're checking the air quality on airnow.gov. And a little feature that I want to shout out the airnow.gov people on is they've built in a little moment of suspense, a little storytelling into the app where you go there and you hit the like where I am, and then it starts at 0 at like very clean air, and then it like kind of bloop, 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 bloop,
it needles
goes up to the bad air quality that you're at, which
so there's a moment of suspense. How much
suspense.
asthma am I going to have today?
Yeah, exactly. How bad is this air? How much mesothelioma is this air going to?
They're just trying to get you to stay on the app for a second longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that app was purchased by a private equity firm 2 weeks ago, and now they're just trying to extract as much wealth from it as possible.
It's the same guy who tells them what it feels like in New York is like, their focus group.
So wait, can I ask you, I'm happy to not talk about what's going on in LA and talk about sunnier things like Trump's executive orders, but
yes.
I've heard over and over from folks in LA, like the kind of that muscle memory of deep COVID is kind of back, and like the masks, the isolation, the sort of like just sort of hyper weird reality. Is that right? I mean,
I think
it's
it
like
depends.
reverse. Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, you were about to say it's like reverse COVID, where you wear your masks outside and take them off inside. Yeah, we were thinking that too. I think it really depends, because there's some parts of the city where people are just acting totally normal because it's such a big city. And also, I think people are still tired from taking all those precautions in COVID. But in my mind, I'm going a little COVID crazy. I'm like, what about my dogs? Like, I can't mask them. Like, what's the air quality like? I went to a kid's birthday party yesterday and everybody was unmasked. And me and my boyfriend were masked because we were like, well, the air quality, it says it's not great, but also, is that just what LA normally is?
So like all those sort of weird borderline choices are back.
Exactly.
Like that sort of social texture is weird.
Right.
Yeah. But then also I feel like it's not as isolated because people are able to be around each other and like help each other. Right. There's a lot of mutual aid going on. There's still shows going on to like raise money and stuff. So it is different.
The thing you're afraid of is not other people, it's the air. So that's kind of
the paranoia is like, when do I unpack my stuff? Because I unpacked my stuff and then it was like the winds are coming back and the fire weather is back, and then you're like, fuck, am I gonna catch it, the fire? You know. So there's that for sure.
Our important documents now live in a bag by the door, and that's
I have a tub.
Gonna be nice.
You have a Go Tub?
I have a Go Tub. Yeah,
it's Go Tub. All right, Jody, what is something that you think is underrated?
Well, my underrated relates to something I've been noodling with lately, and I'm curious for your thoughts. But
this electric guitar.
Exactly. My underrated is drinking. So I've been thinking.
Could that be related to the cold?
No, it's related a little to. It could be related to the cold. It's related a little to dry January going on all around, and then the Surgeon General recently issued the sort of warnings on alcohol, and basically said like no drinking is good for you, or any drinking is bad for you. and then just in general, this, these kind of stats and just this cultural thing that we all see of like drinking has diminished considerably, especially among young people. And I've been thinking over the last couple of weeks about that trend. And on the one hand, I've cut back my drinking a fair amount, and I think like drinking is pretty harmful. But I've also been thinking that maybe that the like decline in drinking might be a symptom of, or a symbol of, like the people call it the loneliness epidemic. But like I really feel like there's a chance that it like young people aren't not drinking because they're like making healthy choices, but because they're at home on screens alone. And I think that is like, yeah,
vaping
right.
by themselves.
And so like I don't know, it's just been this interesting kind of thing I've been trying to puzzle through, because there's part of me that's like, yeah, drinking is really harmful, but then there's part of me that's like, yeah, we need to go out and like grab a couple drinks with friends. Like we need more of that. We are very isolated from one another. So I'm just,
I would also say like there should be more options. I think things being open longer should be more should have more options, like juice bars and coffee places. Like people were talking about how we need more 24-hour like coffee places or whatever, like where people can go hang out and just like chat and have things be open. I think like drinking is sanctioned at night, and so those places stay open. But I think if we just had more like, what is it called, like third spaces. Yeah, even I think a lot of people do stuff in like parks and things, but they're not always in the best situations or available or whatever. So I agree. I get what you're saying about the loneliness thing. I'm like, we all need, and people were talking about how we don't have enough house parties, and then we were like, we don't own houses. Like, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah. Man, 9 years ago, I would have agreed with you so hard on this one, but
we should drink more.
Too hard, in fact, and now I don't drink anymore. But I agree that. I think it's good to have a place, something that gets us out. I think social isolation is a major problem.
Yeah.
And it sounds like America's top doctor, the Surgeon General, caught the woke mind virus and needs to be stopped with that.
That's
that
exactly
take.
what I'm saying.
I do just want to say, like, this is
too bad we can't be vaccinated against the woke mind virus.
Oh my God. I mean, listen, I've got a couple podcasts I'm going to recommend for you that kind of function as a vaccine.
By the way, who's Joe Rogan? No, I'm kidding. Okay.
I will say I don't think there could be a more New York take that is anti-LA than this.
And that
you talk to LA people and we're like, yeah, man, if I hadn't gotten off it 9 years ago and switched over to meditation, I would agree with you.
I suggested juice bars.
Juice bars. Probably did suggest juice bars. Another.
Have you tried the Hailey Bieber smoothie at Erewhon?
That's right. Jody, what's something you think's overrated?
Gosh, overrated. Well, my overrated was actually weather forecast. I'm back. I'm just hung up on this. That's going to be my answer.
Totally
I think,
fair.
Yeah. And just in general, like all of this stuff is, weather forecasts, smoke forecasts, all this stuff is, mostly just winds us up, and you just got to step outside to find out what it actually feels like, what it real feels like.
Do your own research is what Jody says to you.
Exactly.
To all of the LA people, do your own research and decide when to leave based on how close you smell the fire.
That's right.
That's what Jody's saying.
That's precisely what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll get through some executive orders, talk about Elon Musk's Nazi salute. We'll do it all in a moment. We'll be right back. And we're back. Donald Trump is back also. I guess this is the first full episode we've done since he was sworn in as the 47th president of the United States, and immediately did a shock and awe executive order blitz. All these terms that are evocative of only good things in history. But this is what was promised by Project 2025. That we knew it was coming, and yet here it is.
The straight agenda.
That's right. some of the things that he's done are illegal, or at the least are going to face legal pushback. 18 states are suing to stop the birthright citizenship order. He's trying to overturn birthright citizenship. For people born in the United States, you're not necessarily a citizen if he doesn't want you to be.
Okay, but also I'm like crying that it was only 18 states.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
far. But yeah, again, we knew that this was coming for a while.
And that's in the Constitution. So, it's a little hard to undo the Constitution. We'll
right.
see.
He is just saying no more Constitution. There's no evidence on pushbacks on some of the more striking actions, like pardoning all the January 6th rioters for some reason just keeps coming back to me as being like real troubling.
Are you guys doing the same thing I'm doing, which is like keeping the sort of leaderboard in your head of which is most dispiriting, and it just keeps shuffling like you've been watching like trains at Metro?
I have officially, as of yesterday, become apolitical. I've decided not to think about anything anymore, and
God.
I'm a lot happier.
That's so smart. I love that.
This is
I'm
the
just,
podcast for you.
so not into politics anymore. I don't know what's going on.
Oh my God. Have you tried the Hailey Bieber smoothie?
Oh my God. I love the Hailey Bieber
so
smoothie.
It goes really well with choosing to be apolitical.
And not thinking at all.
What's everybody's leaderboard for most troubling, birthright citizenship, number one with a bullet for me. Seems like that's going to be really bad and immediately actionable in a way that includes violence and destroying families. For some reason, like the January 6th rioters being like all of them being pardoned at the same time. When you look at some of the deep dives into like the culture that was growing in those prisons and around those prisoners. And when you look at what far right extremism has done over the course of the history of this country, that one seems like significant to me, and not just as like a own, but like as like a, strategically they're going to do something. They're going to do bad things.
On that point, so I was surprised. I got to be honest. I was surprised that it was a blanket pardon for all 1,500. I mean, that went further than even I expected. But like, how many times have we heard stories from Iraq or Syria where they're like, why is this extremist group all of a sudden, why was there this coup or why was this violence? It's like, 100 prisoners got released, right? All these radicals were in prison and the prison got broken out or collapsed or whatever. Like, this is literally, what happens. Like, to your point, I mean, I'm just realizing it in real time. It's like these groups of people are now longer in prison, and then lo and behold, a month later, you have this kind of political violence. So that one,
and they've gotten ripped in prison, so we're even in more trouble coming out.
They've been warming up their pipes. They have that singing performance on that one song.
They've been working out and
America
doing choir.
I got to say, my leaderboard. I mean, the J6 stuff is just really just sort of awful. The pulling out of the WHO to me is just like such a clear, I think, like own goal. I mean, I get the like performative own the libs politics of it, but I just feel like there's going to be another pandemic, probably on Trump's watch. It's going to deeply harm him. Like, that there was no one who was just kind of seeing that is remarkable. But I guess, what do you expect?
I'm very concerned about like the health related stuff, given my background and everything. So that's something.
What is that background again, Pallavi? Because I've stopped including it when I introduce you.
You don't need to include it.
It's very impressive.
Fine.
It is worth noting. What is that background?
I'm a PhD dropout. That's what I am. I'm a biomedical engineer.
Oh, biomedical engineering. Okay.
But it's fine. Listen,
and this stuff's all gonna be fine, right?
I'm very concerned.
Would you have been at the lab engineering the next COVID had you stayed in that PhD?
No, I'm not even kidding. The job that I had before my PhD was in infectious diseases. We were working on a non-active Ebola virus control to like test to make sure people didn't have it, because at the time that was happening. And then my friends who stayed at that job were working on COVID stuff. So like, yeah, I would have been involved in that if I had stayed at that job. For several more years. So, but that's like, I worked with
Biden
infectious
would have
diseases.
pardoned you
so
last
I
week.
know.
Preemptively.
I should have married. I should have married Hunter. Gotten a pardon.
It's not the first time that we've suggested that for you on this show. Yeah, you would have been out there just trying to make sure that we didn't know the truth about ivermectin. Those feel like the top three to me, but I'm happy to be overruled. Listeners, reach out with your faves. Let's treat it like song recommendations.
Please send us your panic attacks.
But the legal battles is where the action will be over the next couple months, and there have been some legal pushback. And I think think about this day 4 years ago or 8 years ago, right? I mean, we were all out there wearing our pussy hats and marching in Washington, and that's not happening now. There isn't that mass mobilization. But I think there is the legal front is still there. And I mean, I remember 8 years ago, the moment to me that most stuck out from the early Trump years, the early Trump days, was when there was a night at JFK where right after the Muslim ban went into effect, a bunch of immigration lawyers went to JFK and sort of stood on the ground and aided immigrants coming into the country. And it was like, to me, that was the moment where I was like, okay, I see the sort of contours of the quote unquote resistance. And I was like, the lawyers are going to save us. And I still think that is out there. I don't think we're going to see another mass millions of people in the streets, but I do think we are going to see moments like that. So
it'll be interesting to see if the Supreme Court can keep up with his corruption. It seems like they want to let him do whatever he wants, but like he's moving so fast in so many different directions that they're having trouble being like, what do we make the law so he can get away with the maximum amount of bullshit?
Yeah.
I do think like in the last 8 years, there have been like a lot of people, like you said, Jody, who are now lawyers or policymakers who weren't in those positions before. Like I know a lot of like scientists who went into like legislation or policy or like politics when they weren't originally going to because of him. So like hopefully that's had
and someone into comedy, right?
Yeah, some of us did a favor to science by leaving it. And you're welcome. But yeah, so I think like that pivot and that incubation period has happened, and like hopefully we'll see that in like behind the scenes more.
All right, so I think the other most striking thing from the first couple days of the Trump administration was Elon Musk, among the most powerful people in the history of the planet, is he's going to have a major role in the Trump administration. He's been doing all sorts of far right sympathizing and just influencing around the globe. And he gave a speech after Trump was sworn in that included giving a full-on Nazi salute. Like when I heard this, I was like, well, we've seen people give kind of Nazi salutes before, and then they're able to, it just like kind of
fades away.
They're able to be like, I wasn't really.
Yeah, like I've seen someone raise their arm at an angle before.
Yeah. But this is pretty unambiguous. We're gonna, for the people watching on video, we'll show it here. This is from a New Republic article called "Did Elon Musk just give a Nazi salute?"
Some elections are, important. Some are not. But this one, this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Okay, so for
That's
people who are just
insane.
listening, he hits his chest. He like bites his bottom lip like he's about to, do a push-up or, lift a weight.
Have another child. Then smacks his left chest and then gives such a hard Nazi salute that he audibly goes, like as he's doing like a tennis dude. And he does it multiple
turns around
times.
and does it again.
Yeah, it turns around and does
And
it
if you
again.
play them side by side, It showed like you can play with Nazi protesters or marches and him. It's like the exact same movement. It's crazy.
Like he's been
They've
studying.
synced it up. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we all have thoughts on this. One of them is, to me, like, I think a lot of the conversation around this has been like, well, there's a line there. You know, there's a very reasonable line. Don't give a Nazi salute. And he crossed that line. To me, though, the line is not don't give a Nazi salute. Maybe is it unreasonable to think the line should be don't give something that could potentially be interpreted as a Nazi salute? Sure. I mean, the line should actually be a little further back. And so, you know, to me, like, that's the lapse of, you know, I think he intentionally gave that salute. He knew what he was doing, but even the lapse of judgment of not being able to recognize that this might be misinterpreted is just as bad as anything.
So just this is not a one-off. So this is from the New Republic article. Musk, just 1 month ago, Musk came out in full support for the far-right Alternative for Germany party, which has been accused of neo-Nazi sympathies. Less than 2 weeks ago, Musk hosted AfD leader Alice Weidel in a live stream on X, where the pair dismissed Adolf Hitler as a communist. Musk has also voiced his support for British neo-Nazi Tommy Robinson in an attempt to influence politics in that country. All of these would seem to suggest, I don't know, that despite earlier denials, Musk does seem to harbor actual Nazi sympathies. And then he did that on the biggest possible scale at a time when people are like, this guy has way too much power in this administration, in the world. And immediately after the president is sworn in, which, like, I don't know. I feel like Trump and Elon Musk over the past, 8 years have sort of been 1A, 1B and like controlling the news cycle and having all eyes on them. And there's definitely like a, yes, my precious, like energy to that where they like need that shit. And I do wonder if this was him knowing like, I got to go big here because everybody's going to be talking about Trump and all these executive orders. So I need to do the most Nazi thing to get all the eyeballs. So just a theory on what's going on with him.
Grimes is like defending his video game playing ability.
What the fuck was that about, Pallavi?
She was like, the father of my child actually is a gamer. And then later, sick. Elon Musk was like, yeah, I used people to whatever, and I can't believe I ever listened to her music. That's like she was so great when she first came out.
You have to separate the art from the
from the Nazi ex-wife or ex-partner.
What the fuck was that about exactly? It was that he was pretending to be better at a video game.
No, he was ranked top 7, which is like, you cannot, like, those people, if they're playing on their own, they cannot like spend any amount of time away from, they're playing for like 18 hours a day, like to get that ranking, because it's so incredibly hard, especially on that specific video game from what I've heard. And then when he went in and like live streamed him playing, there were sections that were like Elon's maps, and like, why would you name your own maps Elon's maps unless somebody was logging into your account and playing for you? And they're not even called that. He didn't understand how to use them. So people were like he wants the approval of like gamer incel, like all of these different groups that he thinks are cool. And so some of them were like infighting against him, like gamers that he pays attention to on Twitter and all these other things. Like they were like, oh, he's like Asmongold is one of the Twitch streamers who has like kind of right-wing ideas, and was also like rebelling against him. So it was this whole thing, like a gamer infighting right-wing thing where people were like, you're a fucking loser, dude. And then Grimes defended him. And then he was like, oh, no, yeah, I do use some people to up my scores. He's like using other people's labor to make himself look better, basically.
That doesn't sound like Elon Musk. I'm not sure if I can believe this. I'm going to stay with Grimes, using other people's labor to make himself look more brilliant.
Yeah. Can I float a theory to you or a question to you?
Yes, please.
That actually relates to, I think, the video game thing and the Nazi salute and what we saw, on Monday in Washington. But this window, one thing I've been thinking about is I wonder if the window between the election and this week was the kind of pinnacle the peak of kind of the proto-fascist tech elite having cultural cachet. And like that was the window in which Elon could feel that he was the coolest person in the world. And I genuinely wonder, this isn't just hopeful, that whether like we just saw the peak of that. And that maybe the Nazi salute was going a little too far, or that maybe now that there's actually going to be some sort of policy and some sort of implementation of this stuff. And I think it applies to Trump too, that like what Trump really wanted out of the presidency, he got on Monday. He wanted to be there, signing a bunch of stuff, acting like a king, getting a lot of adulation. And now it's just downslope from here. And so I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of wonder if we'll look back and say, you know what, they touched the hot stove. They flew too close to the sun up until this past Monday.
I mean, I would hope so, but I feel like they were almost like more industrious during his 4 years than like Biden's administration was in like achieving their so-called agenda points. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't like it. I mean, it was chaotic, but I feel like that was part of their intention. So I would hope it's the peak, but I think we should prepare for it not being the peak.
Yeah, and I'm mostly talking from like a cultural sense, and obviously there's all sorts of policy ramifications. People will be in genuine harm, but these worlds are very connected.
I was trying to like talk about this and failing yesterday. I'm having a hard time getting my head around this cultural moment because I would like for that to be the case, that everybody sees that and like this is the worst things get. But there also feels like there's just this America loves a winner type thing, and that there's also this America has a mind-boggling blind spot for how influential wealth is and capital is in this country. And now that all the capital seems to be getting in line with this vision, I feel like we're in a really dangerous place where like I don't know who applies the brakes at this point to this.
And the media environment is so broken that like there may be people who will just never see Elon Musk give that salute. Right. Even people who would think he's a cool guy, but then would see that and be like, whoa, what are you up to? Like they will just literally never see it.
And because that, the right owns that.
Yeah. It's true.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk about some people who are interpreting that salute in various ways. And we're back. And just staying on the most powerful person in the world, openly giving a Nazi salute, for if you'll indulge us for another few minutes here. For some reason, this seems important. So maybe one of the most eyebrow-raising defenses of his salute came from the Anti-Defamation League, who tweeted that it was merely an quote awkward gesture, and we should all cut him some slack during this quote delicate moment. Which I think seemed to shock a lot of people, that the ADL was defending a literal Nazi salute. There, seemed to be, I don't know, their reputation is pretty significantly out of line with what their actual work has been forever, but especially in recent years. We've mentioned before that it was founded to defend Israel, not really fight bigotry. And the fact that they run a program that sends U.S. cops to train in Israel should probably tell you something. That's something that we've covered before. A delegation of top American law enforcement officers is in Israel. This is from a Intercept article. Is in Israel for the ADL's National Counterterrorism Seminar, which includes training on topics such as leadership in a time of terror and balancing the fight against crime and terrorism. The current executive director recently compared the keffiyeh to the swastika, has repeatedly aligned the organization with the Trump administration, and refused to call out the Trump administration's blatant hate speech. I will say one group that is calling it a Nazi salute, or does seem to be like, that looked like that's what we thought it was, right? Are actual Nazis. Christopher Pohlhaus, the leader of the notorious neo-Nazi group Blood Tribe posted the clip of his salute on Telegram with a lightning bolt emoji and the caption, "I don't care if this was a mistake. I'm going to enjoy the tears over it." So that seems like he might be like, I don't know. Did he mean to? Who knows? Another neo-Nazi leader, Christopher Hood, who founded the New England Race Separatist Movement, NSC 131, one of the less popular CBS crime dramas, also posted the clip to Telegram with the emoji exclamation point, question mark, and smiley face. There's a bunch of it. Like one of them shared the clip with the caption, "Incredible things are happening already, LMAO." And
okay,
yeah,
these race separatists, no one wants to hang out with you anyways. Okay, nobody is trying to mingle with you at a fucking happy hour.
right.
So don't worry about it.
Another self-described ethno-nationalist and anti-Semite shared the clip in a post writing, "Okay, maybe woke really is dead, guys. Am I right? We got one.
Yeah. No, there's anti-woke, and then there's that.
Yeah.
But wait, with the ADL, is it coherent to their politics to not call this out, or is it bootlicking? Is it sucking up to power and wealth?
I think it's both.
Yeah. I think
because they're going wherever Israel is propped up.
Right.
And so I think, like, given the relationship between Trump and Netanyahu and like what Trump has said or intends to do, I think that aligns with their goals. And then I also think, everybody is falling in line right now.
It seems to be kind of in line with their, if they are not really against defamation as much as, involved in a political cause, they are like a lot, like TikTok and other, organizations that are all just trying to, Donald Trump is a fairly simple instrument to operate, where you just like say that you agree with him and flatter him and do and just display loyalty. He's like and
wire a couple mil into the bank account,
and exactly, buy a bunch of his meme coins so that he becomes even richer. But
I don't know if this means anything, but I checked the Fox News website, and the only mention of Musk's salute on that site was a write-up of AOC pushing back on the ADL and saying, what are we doing here, folks? This was clear. We all know what this was. Like, how can you possibly call for understanding in this moment? Which, to me, I don't know. It's interesting to me that that's the one thing that got attention. And I think it shows like, maybe like actually taking a stand gets people's attention. And like the language of the right has been that for the last 8-10 years. And AOC knows how to play that game. And I don't know, maybe I'm overreading it, but the only mention on Fox News was in this moment where someone actually like clapped back.
Yeah.
Do you think though that I'm not sure. I don't know the language of the article you're talking about. Do you think that they're like putting her out there as chum so that people get distracted because she's so incendiary to the right?
A little bit though. I mean, sure. Yeah. I think AOC is going to get attention no matter what, but like, that's the game we're playing here. Right.
Yeah.
I don't think AOC cares if she's all over Fox News and people are talking shit about her.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, sometimes I just feel like they use people that are almost like trigger words to the right just to distract from the actual her putting her as a shield in front of Musk, kind of like, look at her saying this stuff about the ADL rather than her points are valid.
No, it's certainly like a third order story, right? It's not covering the actual thing. It's like refracted through this now spat, but
just a couple more quotes from people weighing in here. The Proud Boy Ohio chapter posted to a clip of the Musk video to Telegram with the text, "Hail Trump." They just got worse as they went. So I just want to, I'm just scrolling through my inbox here.
I hate that there's like Proud Boys chapter Ohio. First of all, Ohio isn't real, and we all know that. And second of all,
LA and New York come together.
Against Ohio. That's a Twitter thing. Everybody jokes about Ohio not being real. But second of all, like, why do I hate that they're so organized. I hate that they have such structure. They have like a secretary taking notes on how many times they say like slurs. Ugh.
Right. All right. Should we talk about primates peeing in groups? Would that be a good palate cleanser?
Seamless.
What do we
Yes,
think?
this one's for the girlies because we love
This is
going
for
to the bathroom
ladies,
together.
A little something for the ladies, right?
Yes.
Yeah, since time immemorial, men have been wondering this question. Why do they keep like getting up and trying to get away from us?
To
when
talk
we're at
shit
dinner?
about you, dude, to see if
Yeah.
we need protection.
Everything cool here? Everything cool
Hey,
here?
that guy wasn't weird, was he?
All right. So scientists at Kyoto University recently discovered that peeing is seemingly contagious amongst chimpanzees. They watched 600 hours of footage of captive chimps at the Kumamoto Sanctuary, which captured more than 1,328 urination events.
That's what I
And they
call it every
found
time
that-
I have a Slurpee.
That's right. Do Slurpees make you pee?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just was trying to
cute.
think of some big drink.
Big drink, big ol' Slurpee.
Big old drink.
They found that when one chimp decided to pee, others would often follow suit, which is not unlike humans. Our decision to urinate is influenced by social contexts that lead us to urinate simultaneously with others. This is usually something that we talk about in the context of sneezing, like that.
Or yawning,
one
right?
person yawning is the one. Yes.
That'd be crazy if it was
sorry.
sneezing.
Sneezing. I'm like, oh, good idea.
Sneezing
No,
again.
in the context of yawning, that like yawns are contagious, and even though they feel like a thing that our body is forcing us to do, it's like, no, it's our brain. We're silly. We'll just do whatever everybody else is doing. But yeah, like with going to the bathroom, it does feel so like if you're at the end of a long road trip and like suddenly you get to your front door and you're like, wow, I really had to pee that whole time. But like somehow your brain, you're like super ego, like all of your, consciousness scaffolding has like kept that reality suppressed from you. So I'm not shocked that we're learning that this is like highly contagious and socially defined. But it's interesting.
That's like when toddlers are in emergency situations, they fall asleep. Like it's an evolutionary thing for them to like fall asleep just to be quiet to help their families or whatever.
My toddler never learned that one.
No.
You're like trying to recreate emergencies just to get a break. You're like, oh no, a robber.
My toddler, now 6-year-old, but he was evolutionarily designed to create new emergencies when an emergency.
That's fair.
My daughter, when she was like 3, 4, would develop this thing where she would talk about if she needed to pee, and I was like, oh, like we really can't, like right now, that would be very inconvenient. She goes, okay, I'll just do the trick. And I'm like, and for a while I was like, great, okay, you're doing the trick. And then after a while I was like, wait a minute, what's the trick? She's just like, I just decided I don't need to pee anymore. I was like, my God. I mean, the mind over matter is incredible. But yeah, she just developed her own trick where she just doesn't need to go to the bathroom anymore. Which made me question whether she ever really needed to go to the bathroom. And then I think that gets into this sort of sociological element to this, which is she likes a trip to the bathroom or whatever.
Jody, believe little women, okay?
Believe little women. When they say they have a trick to just not have to pee anymore.
Yeah.
This one trick that doctors don't want you to know.
Life hack.
Make it so you never have to go to the bathroom
It's the Nike
again.
logo.
I do like to sometimes, take a little stroll to the bathroom, even if I don't have to go too bad. I like to see what the bathroom of a given restaurant is.
Oh, 100%.
Like to
I
get
love
See
up,
if they have that candle?
stretch the legs.
Oh,
yeah, whether they have the
great
candle,
lighting.
whether they have one of those
Beautiful.
weird sinks that like doesn't really have a basin. Have you ever seen those? Those are starting to be a thing.
Oh,
Like the Kim Kardashian, Kanye. Did you ever see the pictures of the inside of their kitchen where it's like a faucet on a countertop and then like a little line?
and the water
anyways.
runs off into it.
Yeah.
I will say, like, going to the bathroom, I was like kind of joking earlier, but it also is like a really great place to check in with women. I've made so many friendships in bathrooms that have been like lasting, honestly. Some of the first, when I wasn't in stand-up, I went to Sketchfest with my boyfriend at the time who was doing improv, and I met so many stand-ups, so many female stand-ups, and we were just like lounging in this nice ass bathroom, and we were bonding, and I kept in touch with them and like asked them stand-up advice and everything like later on. But it really, like, I think it really is for women like a great check-in and a place of like comfort and like support for each other. It's beautiful.
So wait, take us inside this bathroom, because Jack will do that, but I won't just go barging in to check it out.
Yeah, Jack's always going into women's restrooms.
I'm always going to check in with women at the restroom.
Yeah.
Does the chit chat and the bonding happen as you're walking in, and then does it
Everywhere.
continue as you're peeing? Are you even peeing?
It
Does
just
happen
depends. Like,
afterwards?
often there are lines, which you know, that's
Right,
an
women's
issue.
bathrooms lines are longer.
Yeah, which like we should have more stalls. We should figure it out. Whatever, non-binary bathrooms, but
Not in this America.
yeah.
Right.
But we sometimes we'll chit chat in the line, and then sometimes it happens in the stall. Like if you run out of toilet paper, if you need a tampon, if like sometimes you're there with friends and then somebody else hears and makes a joke or something, or like at the sink. It's just a beautiful place for camaraderie, you know? It's I just love it. I'm like, men need more of this. Put all the men who are in the loneliness epidemic in a bathroom together. In a nice bathroom.
Yeah.
Peeing alone. That's the next book. Yeah.
Don't you guys all just pee in a trough? Isn't that?
That used to be the way back when men were men. No. I've been to like really old sporting event venues like Fenway Park and the Kentucky Derby, like infield, are the places I've been where everybody's just standing around a single trough peeing into it and just mostly pretty drunk, so it's everyone's cool with it.
Wait, can we go back to the study for a second? Because this one line you read where the scientists at Kyoto University watched 600 hours of footage of captive chimps and captured, quote, more than 1,328 urination events.
Yeah.
Pallavi is a former scientist. Is this a good use of their time?
Yeah, I used to watch like rats touch things. I used to have to go through hours of recordings of rats like touching different objects in a circular maze or whatever. So like you do have to like sit there and like time it and record it and whatever. But especially I'm assuming with chimps, there's so many like, I hate behavioral studies. I hate them so much because it feels like so imprecise. Because they could be influenced by so many things. Like there was a study that came out that you found out that like male researchers affected the behavior of mice differently than female researchers. So it's like people who were involved in the same experiment and were doing it in the same way could still influence the behavior of these animals. So that's always
principle.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out the male influence was just like picking the mice up and like moving them around with their hands, trying to click them. Yeah,
trying to teach them how to like dap. But yeah, it's like super informative because that's what you can do to watch behaviors of animals. You just have to watch like a bunch of footage and record it in as strict of a measurement as you can. But
this feels like the sort of thing when we just we always bring up like when AI is used in a way that is like, guys, not this. Like we don't need a worse Coke commercial that's just a smoothie made of every previous Coke commercial. This would be a good, like, scroll through the 600 hours to find the urination events. That's great. That is AI. That's something that I don't mind if a person is not doing.
Yeah, there is a lot of that, of like trying to automate some of these like image processing or video processing things. Like that's something that like I even like worked on in one of my rotations or whatever at my PhD, but it's still sometimes there's qualitative things too that they want to observe, and it depends
like,
on how good the tech is.
Chimp peeing or not? I mean, that's a difficult AI task.
Yeah.
You have to
and like the duration and
Wait, isn't this actually a storyline in that show Silicon Valley where they design an app to see penises in porn, and then or for hot dogs, and then it actually is able to identify penises in porn. I know there's some great
something like that.
It's a great storyline. That show continues to be the most prescient show there is, but it's literally
tech people loved that.
Cool
I was
stuff.
in the Bay when that was happening, and tech people were like, "That is us.
Right,
we
which is
do
like,
have
"That shouldn't be."
concerts." I'm like, "Oh no,
Really shouldn't be. All right. Well, Jody, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Where can people find you, follow you, all that good stuff?
Well, look, I host this political history show called This Day in Esoteric Political History from Radiotopia. We're trying to actually do more conversations about what we're going through right now through a historical lens, and I'm just kind of really happy with those conversations. The listeners have really enjoyed those. So, if you want to hear about weird historical moments, but then also kind of need a little help processing what we're going through and is this unprecedented, I host it with 2 actual historians. It's really a fun show, so I would encourage people to go check that out. And then one other silly thing that I'm doing but I've been enjoying is every week I get a New Yorker in the mail, and the New Yorker cover has a title. I don't know if you knew this, but every New Yorker cover has a title.
Yeah.
And so I've always played a game for myself where I try and guess the title, and then I go flip open and see what the actual title is and see how close I am, whether I like mine better or like theirs better. I'm doing that on my Instagram page now every week. So that is my hit new series where I try and guess the title of that week's New Yorker. So
how's it going? How close are you?
It's going great.
Yeah.
So far, it's been 2 weeks into the year, and I've had one where I liked my title better, one where I liked their title better. So we'll see.
Which was because there was the Elon Musk getting sworn.
The Elon Musk one, I liked their title
with
better.
Trump out of focus.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
That's on my
great.
Instagram page. Yeah.
All right. Is there a work of media that you've been enjoying? Is that the work of media that you've been enjoying?
I guess that is the work of media. But no, the day we're recording this, Garth Hudson from the band died today, the last remaining member of the band. And I watched a really wonderful, God, I wish I could recall the name of the person who did it. But if you Google Garth Hudson, or if you go to YouTube and search for Garth Hudson, one of the first things that come up was just a kind of really lovely tribute to him and his contributions to the band and his sort of genuine weirdness and avant-gardeness. And so I'm taking a moment to kind of enjoy his work and the band and all of that.
Yeah. Great. Pallavi, wonderful having you. Where can people find you? And is there a work of media you've been enjoying?
Hi. Thank you. I am so out of it.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
You all along?
Oh my God. Hi.
I don't know what's going on.
She just, just like
I
came online.
defaulted.
Hi.
The brain was like, "You are on a podcast. What do you say?"
I was looking up Garth Hudson. He lived to be 87. Okay.
Yep.
That's beautiful. There's also an English footballer named Garth Hudson. Okay. I am going to be at Sketchfest on Saturday. And I'm going to be on Comedian Clash with Jackie's Neil, a friend of the pod. And I'm also co-producing facial recognition comedy at the Lost Church that night. Tickets are going fast. Please buy them. Please tell your friends to buy them. I am trying to find a work of media because I fully did not prepare for this. Let's see. Which one? There was like hold on. I'm on Blue Sky a lot more, but I'm noticing like people are kind of like going in between it and Twitter a lot, so I'm going in between. Have you noticed you've been losing a lot of Twitter followers because of Elon?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I have too.
And because I think a lot of people are quitting Twitter.
I'm out.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a tweet from Dexerto, and it says Chapel Roan says she doesn't play first person mode on Fortnite because she wants to see her Ariana Grande skin. Which I thought was cute because they're our pop girlies and they're all we have right now.
I'm gonna pretend like I understand all the references.
Really? You don't know that? You can wear like a person's like skin as the character. So if you're not in first person mode, I don't know why I know gamer stuff now.
That was
I think I've been
fourth on the list
online.
of references that Jack didn't get, by the way.
Yeah. No, I got that. I know what a skin is, and I'm assuming there is an Ariana Grande one. I don't know what ties it all together. Does Chapel Run have?
It's her as white.
Oh, got it. Okay.
She's playing her white character, Ariana
That's
Grande.
Right. That's funny.
No, Chaperone just plays Fortnite, and she doesn't want to do first person mode because she likes viewing herself as Ariana Grande, which made me happy.
Okay, got it.
They like to play each other. All these pop girlies are getting
Cute.
along. There was a time when they weren't. They're not Nicki
That is
Minaj and
nice.
each other.
Got it. Let's see. So I just wanted to give a little further detail on something that Pallavi mentioned earlier. Grimes tweeted over the weekend. Just for my personal pride, I would like to state that the father of my children was the first American druid in Diablo to clear Abattoir or Azir and ended that season as best in the USA. He was also ranking in Polytopia and beat Felix himself at the game. I did observe these things with my own eyes. There are other witnesses who can verify this. That is all. And
that relates to her personal pride. How?
Yes, Pokey Pup on Twitter tweeted, "For your personal pride, girl, this is so embarrassing."
Thank you.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at Jack_O'Brien and on Blue Sky at JackOB and the number 1. You can find us on Twitter at Daily Zeitgeist. We're at The Daily Zeitgeist on Instagram. We have a Facebook fan page and a website, dailyzeitgeist.com. And you can go to the episode wherever you're listening to this. Check out the description, and you can find the footnotes, which is where we link off to the information that we talked about in today's episode. We also link off to a song that we think you might enjoy. Super producer Justin, Miles will be back, by the way, in the not too distant future. But
it's like an Avengers movie. Miles will return.
Miles will return. Still sending a lot of good energy to him and his family. I was texting with him this morning. He's still very funny, which I don't know how he is still so funny at a time like this.
Honestly, pretty fucked up. You know what I mean?
Kind of a fucked up guy.
You know what, Miles? That's fucked.
No. But with Miles out, we like to turn to super producer Justin to recommend a song that he thinks people might enjoy. Super producer Justin Connor, is there a song that you think people might enjoy?
Yeah, I wanted to attempt to lift your spirits after a rough news cycle today by recommending this amazing song. It's called It's Not Easy by a band named Ofege, and they were a group of high school students.
One of my Mount Rushmore songs.
Yeah. They were a group of high school students like aged 15 to 17, which is really hard to believe after you hear the song. They were recording back in the 70s during the much overlooked psych rock movement in Lagos, Nigeria, and it's got this nostalgic, fuzzy, peace-loving, open-hearted feeling to it. This is by far their most popular and accessible song. I don't even know if people listen to the songs I recommend on here half the time, but I highly suggest checking out their whole catalog because it's impossible not to love, and there's something very special about this song specifically. So that again is It's Not Easy by Ofege, and you can find that song in the footnotes.
Wait, I have a question. Do you guys have a TDZ Spotify playlist of all the songs you've recommended?
I don't think so.
Really?
There
I
was
I
at
need
one
that.
point.
Yeah, I thought there was at one point.
There was at one point. I don't know if it's being kept up right now or not.
It should.
Well, I've just found Justin new work for no pay.
You should.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You can con one of your Discord people into doing that for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure someone's
Yeah.
right on it somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. That song sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's one of the best.
Multiple votes of approval, so go check it out. The Daily Zeitgeist is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. That is going to do it for us this morning. We are back this afternoon to tell you what is trending, and we will talk to y'all then. Bye.